posted on everything going on as far as the Yankees and Red Sox are concerned. Hi, there we are. Hello to our streaming audience as well. If you're watching us on video, if you're watching us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, we're on all of those. But most importantly, here on Sports Map Radio, and that's where we will be for the next 3 hours. Getting into it as far as the football, Dak Prescott and TJ Watt updates. We got those as we continue with the cash in. I'm Jason Page. This is Sports Map Radio. Yeah. As soon as I saw it, I was like, remote busy. I was like, oh, that's weird. Okay. Yeah, I was right. I was right there waiting for you. Got a hard-boiled egg stuck in my throat. Just a hard-boiled egg. Quick snack before the show. There we go. For the podcast, I could already tell you, make it easy on you. This segment, then the Drew Pearson, then the Kirk Heelan. We should be good. Okay? If any others are good that I want to do, then I'll let you know. All right. Rolling along on this Tuesday night. Thanks for tuning in on the Sports Map Radio Network, the Sports Map Radio app. You want to be a part of the show? It's easy. 800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. You can tweet at the show. That's easy too, at the back page. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to tell you. Hit me up on Twitter. If you're not following me on Twitter, go and do so. I'm on Twitter at the back page because Wednesdays, we're giving away stuff. Last week, we gave away a blaster box of Panini Chronicles Draft Picks football box. We gave that away last week. I'm not going to tell you what we're giving away tomorrow yet, but we only give them away if you follow on Twitter. So you got to go to Twitter, you have to follow me, and then you got to send me a message. Or as they say, right? Ready for this one, Brian? This is what the kids say. You got to slide into my mentions. You like that? Gotta slide into my mentions. Producer Vlad will be along a little bit later. Executive producer Vladimir Lewisan will be along a little later. He's got another work obligation, so it'll just be me, and that's fine. I'm used to talking by myself for a while, so we'll be fine. As I said, Yankee game, Red Sox Yankees tied at 4. Notable in that game, Aaron Judge home runs number 56, and this is what number 57 sounded like.
High fly ball, deep left field. There it goes. See ya. Number 57. Aaron Judge, 4 away from Roger Maris.
It's nothing short of amazing what he is doing. I mean, he is putting together an all-time great season. And I'll just say this one thing, and then I'll get to Dak Prescott and TJ Watt, because that's what I really plan to start the show with. But it's live sports talk, and, things change. Plans change. Storylines make you change what you're talking about. But I'll just say this, and then we'll be done with it. And if you guys want to weigh in on it, you can shoot me a note on Twitter. I'll read them later. There is one MVP choice in the American League. One. Shohei Ohtani, with all due respect, great season. What Aaron Judge is doing is an all-time great season. This will be potentially one of the top 10 seasons of all time. That's not hyperbolic. That's just fact. The guy's on the verge of winning a triple crown and breaking what is actually the record for home runs in a season with 61 and Roger Maris. And he might even do it in 154 games or less, which is the 60 that Babe Ruth hit before Maris hit 61 in 162 games. So he might be the best home run hitter ever if you take the steroid guys out. Okay, enough of that. We'll keep an eye on the Yankee game. We'll tell you what's going on there in extra innings, 10th inning, 4-4. Dak Prescott news. And we lead off there. And it changes the calculus for the Dallas Cowboys. If indeed he can be back in 4 weeks, which is what the reports are today, if Dak Prescott can be ready in 4 weeks, then you're talking about a scenario where this team cannot go out and make a trade. They're going to have to go to bat with Cooper Rush and just hope that he can hold it down enough if it's 4 games. But how sure can you be? They said surgery went well. I know Cowboy fans are probably a lot more excited as opposed to all that anxiety they were feeling with the idea of Cooper Rush for 8 weeks and basically your season flushed down the drain before you even had a chance to have your second tailgate. But that's what the talk seems to be right now. The possibility that Dak Prescott can return in just 4 games. And if you start looking at the Cowboys' schedule here, and you start to get into, what they've got over the next 4 or 5 weeks, it all of a sudden becomes a little bit more manageable when you talk about 4 or 5 games, the next 4 games without Prescott. That you don't have to rush out and try to sign Cam Newton. Can you get through 4 games without Prescott? Obviously, the Bengals is going to be a chore, but at least you're at home. Then you got the Giants. Definitely a winnable game with or without Dak Prescott. Then you got the Commanders. And I know the Commanders and Giants won in week 1, and their fans are going to tell me, don't you sell us short. Well, you know what? Vegas is selling you short. They think you suck, despite the fact that you won in week 1. And I say that as a Giants fan. I'm not going crazy after they win in week 1. Yeah, it's great to see Saquon Barkley run all over the Tennessee Titans. And yeah, Daniel Jones made some nice plays, but this is still the Giants, who are projected to win about 5.5 games this year. Maybe 6. So you got the Bengals, the Giants, and the Commanders, and then a very difficult road to Hall in Los Angeles against the Super Bowl champion Rams. But then after that, home for you're at Philadelphia against the Eagles. Obviously a tough game. Eagles now the favorite to win that NFC East. Heck, people are talking about them as a Super Bowl pick now. And then you entertain the Lions. Got a fun note about the Lions I'll get to later on in the show, by the way. But that's what you're looking at. If you're the Cowboys, those next 4 games without Dak Prescott. The Giants, the Commanders, the Rams. The Bengals, Giants, Commanders, and the Rams. Can you find a way to go 2-2? And if he comes back and you're 2-3, okay, fine. It's a 17-game season. You got 12 games left. Suck it up and figure out a way to get through it. I think they can win 2 of those 4 games. Go 2-2 in those 4 games. All right, fine. You're 2-3. That's manageable. But if you go 1-3 in those games, now all of a sudden you're talking about 2-5. You're talking about if you go 1-3 in those games, now all of a sudden you're talking about 1-4. And again, it's a 17-game season. That is not going to be easy to get through. If you're 1-4, the chances of you making the playoffs in a very competitive NFC are going to drop dramatically. Still, I would not expect to see the Cowboys make a move for a quarterback now. We'll ask Drew Pearson about it coming up a little later on in this hour. Our conversation with the Hall of Fame wide receiver, formerly obviously a Dallas Cowboy, the original number 88, Drew Pearson, to join us about 20 minutes from now on the show. All right, that's not the only big injury news of the day. And it's good news as well for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They thought they were going to be without T.J. Watt for the rest of the season. It turns out that's not going to be the case.
Definitively say that T.J. won't play this week, but I won't make any commitments beyond that. We're encouraged, and we'll just continue to look at the situation and gain opinions and do what's appropriate.
Well, it gets better than that. Mike Tomlin didn't want to say it there, but it sounds like T.J. Watt is only going to miss 6 weeks. They're not going to put him on IR. And that means you could have T.J. Watt back in just a month and a half. Partially torn pec, very, very big. Because if it's fully torn, he's gone for the season. Now instead, you'll have T.J. Watt at some point back this season, arguably the best defensive player in the game, and a huge disruptor if you watched that Steelers win on Sunday against the Bengals before he got hurt. And look, I mean, we've seen Mike Tomlin work miracles before. I thought the Steelers would be abysmal this year. I'm still kind of sure they will be. I mean, Vegas thought they were the last place team in that division. Mitchell Trubisky made a couple of nice plays in that Sunday win, but he's still Mitchell Trubisky. But the news that T.J. Watt is not going to miss the entire season as of now has to be very heartening for that Steelers organization, who had to be feeling a range of emotions after that win against the Bengals, but then finding out you lost your defensive captain in T.J. Watt. So we'll wait and see what happens there. There is other NFL news to get to from today, and we will tackle that as we go through the show. But T.J. Watt, Dak Prescott, the news for both those fan bases is definitely something they were looking forward to hearing. All right, so that's what we got going on as far as the Cowboys and the Steelers. I have got to revisit what happened last night. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, we're talking about the Monday Night Football debacle for the Denver Broncos. And I want to compare it to something else that happened in week 1. 2 guys coaching their first NFL games as head coaches, and the contrast between the way they managed late game situations. We'll do that as we continue. I'm Jason Page. Another night of the cash in on Sports Map Radio and the Sports Map Radio Network. The best part of it was watching the Manning cast, and oh my God. They're both just watching in horror. They were both watching in horror. Listen, it's one of the all-time bad coaching decisions. Pretty much. Hold on one second. I gotta fix my earbuds here. My in-ear monitors. Aaron Judge is on deck. Runners on first and second in the 10th. 57. He hit 2 tonight. Yeah, he's just... What he's doing is just out of this world. I think it's going to start now. Because now not only does he have a chance to win the home run title, he's got a chance at a triple crown. Yeah, I don't think it's a question of whether he catches Maris. I think it's how fast. Can he do it? Can he do it in 154 is the question. Because Ruth hit 60 in 154. Oh, damn it. I got to interview Bo Jackson when I was a senior in high school at the Special Olympic World Games in Connecticut. Post-playing career. No, it was soon after he retired. A couple of years after he retired. Yeah, it really was. All right, this isn't fair. This is not fair because the TV is behind me. The microphone is in front of me, and I have to host a nationally syndicated sports radio show and a show that's streaming in video online. But I just want to watch. Stanton's up. Oh, they must have walked Judge. Okay, so they intentionally walked Judge in the 10th. Yankees had runners on first and second, nobody out. Marwin Gonzalez hits into a double play. And because first base is open and it's high game 4-4, you're not going to pitch to Judge. They've pitched to him a couple of times tonight, and he's hit him into the seats. So they walk Judge to get to Giancarlo Stanton. And look, that's what teams should be doing. As much as I want to see Judge break the record, I don't know why you'd pitch to him right now. Anything he hits, he destroys. It's like the old Rocky IV. When Ivan Drago is getting ready to fight Apollo Creed, and the guy that plays, the Russian political advisor to Drago says, whatever he hits, he destroys. That's Aaron Judge right now. Whatever he hits, he destroys. Just amazing. So, Yankees and Red Sox tied at 4. We'll keep you posted on what's going on there. We'll go through the night in baseball a little later on, too, and what's happening with what's happening with, some of these playoff chases and wild card races. A lot of these divisions have already been decided, obviously. We talked last night with the great Dave Sims, who does the play-by-play for the Seattle Mariners TV broadcast, and we were talking with him about that team's playoff aspirations. And barring something unforeseen, they're going to be in the postseason. They've been fantastic this year. I think they're about a year ahead of schedule, and Julio Rodriguez has been basically the conversation up in the great Northwest with what he's been able to do this year. So, again, we'll do some baseball in the third hour of the show, a lot to get to, and we'll keep you up to date on this Yankees-Red Sox game, 4-4 in the 10th inning. Yankees now with the bases loaded in that 10th inning. So, 800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. If you want to hit me up on Twitter at any point through the show, do so. At the back page. If you're not following me there, do it. At the back page, because the only way you can win stuff is if you're following me there. You got to follow me, slide into my mentions, you're eligible to win. Simple as that. Tomorrow night we're going to be giving away something. I don't want to say what it is yet. You'll find out when you listen to the show tomorrow. So Nathaniel Hackett had more Nathaniel Hackett had more to say regarding the debacle that was the Monday Night Football finish. And look, let's just be honest. It was as bad as it can get if you're a Denver Broncos fan. You're all excited. You got your new star quarterback. You're feeling shades of a few years ago when Peyton Manning led you to a Super Bowl win, in the twilight of his career. And obviously it's not the twilight of Russell Wilson's career, but closer to the end than he is the beginning, although maybe he wants to play till he's 40. He's talked about playing 20 years in the league, so you never know. But you got Russell Wilson on the road in Seattle, the fans all against him despite what he's done for that city. A fourth down play just past midfield in Seattle territory. You got just under a minute left. And what do? You sit there and you wait and you wait and you wait. I should actually just do 40 seconds of dead silence here on the show. Because just so you would know how long 40 seconds is in an NFL game, just 40 seconds of silence. If I had a clock sound effect, that's when I would do it right now. Just 40 seconds of silence so you can understand how interminable this wait was for Broncos fans. The huge fourth down, a chance for Russell Wilson to show that he is still the man, that he is still this quarterback that can lead the Broncos. And what do? You just sit there and wait and wait. They still haven't snapped the play. Oh, now we're going to call a timeout after wasting 40 seconds. And now we're not even going to go for it on fourth down and try to get closer for a Brandon McManus field goal. No, we're going to kick it from 64. Because that was the plan. And this is the craziest part of this whole story. Is Nathaniel Hackett coming out today and saying, no. Sorry about that. No. That was the plan. The plan was for us to go out there and kick a 64-yard field goal. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. You cannot make this stuff up. Here's Nathaniel Hackett in his own words earlier today, in case you might have missed what he said. His mea culpa of sorts.
Looking back at it, we definitely should have gone for it. Just not, one of those things you look back at it and you say, of course we should go for it. We missed the field goal. But in that situation, we had a plan. We had a plan. We knew that the 46 was the mark. We were 3rd and 15, I think, 3rd and 13. I'm more upset about that play before it, to lose yards, to be able to, getting that there would have definitely been better to be able to call that same play and get extra yards. But he dumps it out to Javonte. Javonte makes a move, goes a lot farther than I think we had anticipated. We were expecting to go for it on fourth down, and then you hit the mark.
You hit the
looking
mark.
Back at it.
Well, Nathaniel Hackett hit all the wrong marks. And now you're talking about a Broncos team that's 0-1. And you're talking about an organization and a fan base that right off the get-go, your first impression is, this guy can't handle the big moment. It was too big for him. And that's going to stick with him until the next time there is a moment like this where he makes the right call. And guess what? Moments like that on Monday night, they don't come along that often. Now, juxtapose that with what you saw from Giants head coach Brian Daboll, who with his team trailing 20-19 after a touchdown late in Tennessee said, no, we're going for 2. Now, you might want to make the argument, hey, the Giants have nothing to lose. Nobody's expecting anything of them this year. They were a 5 or 5.5 or a 6-point underdog on the road in Tennessee. Nobody's expecting them to win. Titans are a good football team, well coached with Mike Vrabel. They're not supposed to win that game, so he's just throwing caution to the wind. But the difference between the two calls, one going for it, the other, I don't even want to call it playing it safe. I'll just call it playing it stupid. And how those two organizations view their head coaches, how the fan bases for those two organizations view those coaches, how the players in the locker room will view those two head coaches after the decisions they made on Sunday and Monday. And you put them next to each other, two brand new head coaches, one with a future Hall of Fame quarterback, the other with a bunch of guys that most people wouldn't be able to pick out of a lineup. And one of them's feeling really good about themselves as they start the practice week, and the other's feeling really crappy right now. And you know which ones they are. 800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. You want to tweet at the show, you can do it. Hit me up at the back page. If you do that, your chance to win something. We're doing our Wednesday giveaway again tomorrow. You'll just have to tune in and find out what we're giving away. An update on the Yankee game. They now lead, I believe it's 7-4 going to the bottom of the 10th. Yankees get a 3-run double from Gleyber Torres with the bases loaded, and they take a 7-4 lead, a game in which Aaron Judge has hit home runs number 56 and 57. Yankees trying to hang on and win the AL East after a brutal month of August where they did not play good baseball. They're starting to play much better again in September. Even though Garrett Cole gave up 3 ding-dongs in Boston tonight, the Yankees still looking like they're going to get a win, up 7-4 as they go to the bottom of the 10th with a 3 spot in the top half of the 10th inning. We'll keep you up to date on that. Again, we'll do a lot of baseball in the final hour, update you on all these wild card races, also the divisions that are kind of still there for the taking, the AL Central obviously being the one that comes to mind there. But coming up in a couple of minutes, I get to talk to Drew Pearson, Pro Football Hall of Famer, part of the class of 2021, former Dallas Cowboys great. We'll get some thoughts with him on the mess that is the Cowboys. Can it now be salvaged with Dak Prescott only missing 4 weeks as opposed to 6 or 8? We'll talk about it with Drew Pearson next on The Cash In. I'm Jason Page. This is Sports Map Radio. I don't see why they'd say it otherwise. Why get your fan base's hopes up? Yeah, I don't think so, though. I don't think he's saying that unless the doctors are saying it. Yeah, and I suspect that may happen to him, too. That may happen to Dak, too. No kidding. I don't know if anything can prevent that from happening right now. the hell is that? Yeah, it's me. Don't worry about it. That's just me. We continue with this Tuesday edition of the I know what it is. I got it. Radio and the Sports Map Radio Network. Don't forget, check out the podcast if you miss anything on the show. We've talked a lot the last couple of days, obviously, about the Dallas Cowboys, and for good reason with everything going on there. The Dak Prescott injury, the lackluster performance in Week 1 against the Buccaneers. Some good news for the Cowboys today. It sounds like it's only going to be 4 weeks for this injury for Dak Prescott. That remains. Clay Holmes is going to figure out a way to give this game away. Yeah, they've been all right in September, though. I think they're figuring it out. Baseball's such a long season, man. Yeah. Nope. By the way, this is all self-contained, so. All right. Cool. What is that? We continue with this Tuesday edition of the Cash In on Sports Map Radio and the Sports Map Radio Network. Don't forget, check out the podcast if you miss anything on the show. We've talked a lot the last couple of days, obviously, about the Dallas Cowboys, and for good reason with everything going on there. The Dak Prescott injury, the lackluster performance in Week 1 against the Buccaneers. Some good news for the Cowboys today. It sounds like it's only going to be 4 weeks for this injury for Dak Prescott. That remains to be seen, but that's what they're saying. Decided we wanted to get a good insight on the Cowboys organization and a guy who certainly knows a ton about the game. Drew Pearson, Pro Football Hall of Famer, former Cowboys receiver, joins us on the show. Drew, what is the first thing that goes through your mind when Dak Prescott leaves the field Monday night and then you learn he has to have surgery for a fracture in his throwing hand?
Well, the first thing is, Jason, it's a disappointment I feel for Dak, having just gone through an injury situation and having to go through some serious rehab just to get back on the field. And so much expected of him this season, especially with the offense the way it is, with the limited amount of weapons that they have in that offense right now compared to what they had last year. So that's what my first thought was as for the player, what it means to him, how disappointed I know he must feel going through something like this again, missing games. So other than that, it's just thinking about the team and helping them do what he can do to help Cooper Rush be the best quarterback he can be in place of Dak.
If it is 4 weeks like they're saying, especially now it's a 17-game season as opposed to 16, you get that extra game. You look at the schedule ahead, and there's some games on there against some division opponents that you think are winnable. The Giants, the Commanders, naming just a couple. If it is 4 weeks, can the Cowboys survive this?
Yeah, they can. The other guys just have to pick up. The season doesn't have to be lost at this point. Yeah, you lost a key player, someone that not only what he brings as a talent on the field, but his leadership. He could still be that leader, but it's not the same if you're not playing out there and being part of the team and feeling that chemistry out there on the field. But, all we're doing is taking Dak out of the offense and putting Cooper Rush in. And what that means is the other guys around Cooper Rush have to step up, to make his job a little easier. The receivers have to make the catch. It doesn't have to be a perfect pass. If it's behind you a little bit, make that catch for that quarterback. The blockers up front, the line, give him a little extra time. He's inexperienced, so he needs a little extra time. How about in the running game? Let's do a little more concentration on the running game. Let Zeke and Pollard carry a little bit of that load. So, you take Dak out and you put Rush in, and the other guys just have to step up and make sure they do their job a little better than they have been doing it.
Well, you mentioned Elliott and Pollard, and you almost have to think that, Mike McCarthy, knowing what Cooper Rush is, I mean, he's a backup quarterback. He's a guy that you're hoping he can just go in there and not make mistakes and not turn the football over. Does this become a run-heavy offense, and does it risk becoming a predictably run-heavy offense?
No, you just have to you have to go with your strength. And if that happens to be your strength, you have to go with it and force the defense to defense it. And by doing that, it should open up some other things, making passes downfield, throwing passes downfield a little easier. Play action comes into play when you got your running game going. So, you don't become one-dimensional. You just become more versatile if your running game is going, because a lot of things can be predicated in that offense or in any offense based on running the football. I know this game in the NFL or around football nowadays is the spread offense, and running backs in the NFL are not the commodity they used to be. The receivers now on the offensive side of the football are the ones that are getting the big money. But that doesn't mean the running game is not important to the success of an offense. So if we can do that and get that going, that would be a big plus for the offense and certainly take a lot of pressure off Cooper Rush.
If you were this team, when this was a talk of a 6-week injury and an 8-week injury, I know you had been of the mindset, hey, go out and get somebody. With it being a 4-week injury, do you ride with Cooper Rush, or do you still explore Cam Newton, somebody like that?
Well, their job, the player personnel guy, is to scan and see what's out there, beat the bushes, so to speak. And in doing that, you can't leave any stone unturned. You have to check everything out. But after you check it out, I don't think that it'll come to Cam Newton or Kaepernick or anybody like that. I know what the quarterback position brings. I played with a Hall of Fame quarterback for 8 years, 8 seasons, and I know what a wide receiver, what that position is all about. And I also know that a quarterback, to play that position in the NFL, you cannot be out of the game for 4 or 5 years and come back and expect to be effective. So that those guys are out, but I don't know what else is out there. We know what a commodity the quarterback position is. A lot of teams are in a position that they do lose a starter, they'll be in the same position as the Dallas Cowboys, where somebody off their backup is a guy that doesn't have much experience and, is there trying to develop and maybe even there because of the salary cap. We pay Dak a lot of money. They're kind of limited there as well as far as who the Cowboys can go get in that situation. But I say, let's coach up Cooper Rush, coach him up, other players around him, step it up, and the defense understand what the situation is with the offense and do what they do. Keep that team, their opponent out of the end zone. If they have to score, let them kick field goals, and hopefully we can find the end zone, and hopefully we can find it this week against Cincinnati.
Cowboys Hall of Fame wide receiver Drew Pearson joining us here on the Cash In on this Tuesday, talking about the Dallas Cowboys situation, obviously with Dak Prescott, and what we're looking at ahead here for the next 4 weeks or so with his absence. Before the injury, Dallas was getting beaten pretty bad in that game against the Buccaneers. We know about the losses in the receiving game. And you talked about it before, that's where it's at in the NFL. It's not about, the flashy running back as much as getting receivers. Knowing that, both because of injury and free agency, we know what happened with Michael Gallup. We know what's happened with Amari Cooper. You know a thing or two about the position. Can Dallas win? And I mean win to the level that Cowboy fans are expecting with this particular receiving core this year based on what you've seen both in the preseason and in the first game?
Jason, I'm a Hall of Famer, but that doesn't mean I have a crystal ball. Okay. What I see it as an opportunity for other guys to step up, okay? I got my opportunity in the NFL after I made the Cowboys. I was third string. It just so happens through the course of the season, the two guys ahead of me got hurt in consecutive weekends, and it was my turn. And I took advantage of that. And once I got in there, they couldn't get me out of there. And so I realized my opportunity. So these other guys, coming through have to realize this is an opportunity for them, So hopefully they can step up and even CeeDee Lamb, he has to understand what he means to this passing game at this point. And he has to be that leader of the receiving core. I was disappointed, in the offseason when they let Cooper go. But I understood that because of his salary. But I was even more disappointed when they let Cedric Wilson go as well. Lose one, but not both. Keep one of those weapons around Dak, knowing Michael Gallup is coming off knee surgery. And you don't know when he's going to be ready to go and if he will be ready to go. So, no, the receiving core is in a situation where we just got to hope that the guys there can step up and take advantage of their opportunity. It would be a lot easier with this receiving core if Dak was there because he could throw them into catches and being good players, because Dak's a pretty accurate quarterback. He didn't show much of that Sunday night, but for the most part, he's a pretty accurate quarterback, one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the National Football League. But he's not there. So these guys just have to step up and look at it as an opportunity for them to show what they can do and make it a stepping stone for them for their career. And CD, he understands this. He's part of the 88 club. So he understands what he means to this team right now, especially to the passing game.
Last one before I let you go. Everybody likes to look at Jerry Jones as the sort of the common denominator when it comes to the lack of success. And again, we define success by, Super Bowls, and this is a proud organization that hasn't been there in a long time. A lot of people like to point the finger at Jerry Jones, and I know that he's a guy that wants to win more than anything. As much as he likes being a successful businessman, this guy is about winning. How frustrating do you think it is for him at this point? Knowing what we knew about this season before we got into it, the expectations for this team, how frustrating do you think it is for Jerry Jones to be in this position?
I could imagine it's got to be really frustrating for him, every year is important to him because you don't know if it'll be another year. You don't know if there'll be a next season, at this stage of his life. So, every training camp, every preseason, every opening game and rest of the season is very important to Jerry Jones. He lives and dies with this stuff. And so I don't know if these players realize that, but I know if my group that I played with back in the 70s and early 80s realized that we had an owner like that cared so much about the team and put so much effort into the team, worked so hard for the team, we would play for that owner, okay? We would jump through a wall for that owner, and knowing at the end of that, he will take care of you. He has paid the players. He is a player's owner. He takes care of the guys. If you produce for him, if you become one of his guys, So, to answer your question, this is very frustrating to see Dak go down because he thought this was another opportunity for his team. And you see Dak go down, then you see what happened with the rest of the NFC East. Teams, all three other teams won games and won in some very un so not normal fashion, going for 2 points to win a game and stuff like that. What kind of motivation you think that gives the Giants? The Washington, what are they? The Commanders? I call them the Commodores, the Washington Commodores. I'm expecting Lionel Richie to come out of the tunnel, that quarterback. But they came back and won their game, so Philadelphia looked pretty good with that Brown, that new receiver they got. So they look pretty tough. So that even adds to the frustration for Mr. Jones. And we're teammates. If you cut us, we'll both bleed cowboy blue because we come through that organization and we care so much about it. But we're also teammates in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and so I have a lot of respect for him. And as I'm talking to you, Jason, it makes me want to go suit up and play for him so that he could get one more opportunity. But I don't think I can handle that. That's for sure.
No, you did just fine though as a player. So I think you've earned the rest. Yeah. So hopefully you've enjoyed it. Listen, Drew Pearson, much appreciated for the time. An honor to have you on the show. Be well, and we'll see if the Cowboys can get it turned around.
All right, Jason. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Be safe, brother.
Absolutely. You too. Drew Pearson joining us here on the Cash In. We're back with more on the Sports Map Radio Network. Yes, it does. Yankees hold on to beat the Red Sox 7-6. Wandy Peralta retiring, in fact, striking out Rafael Devers in the final minute, or rather in the final for the final out of the game. Sorry, I was watching the WNBA finals during the break. Connecticut's, yes, that's all there is left to watch tonight is the WNBA finals. And anybody who knows me knows I'm actually a big WNBA fan because I'm from the state of Connecticut originally, and women's basketball is big there. Las Vegas Aces, by the way, one win away from a WNBA title, would be their first. They're just about to finish off the Connecticut Sun in Game 2 of that best-of-5 series. So that is that. Yankees hang on, as I said, to beat the Red Sox 7-6 in 10. Aaron Judge hits home runs number 56 and 57. Still got another game in Fenway. That green monster is calling his name. Maybe we'll see what those Judge home runs sounded like coming up in the next hour. Speaking of the next hour, we got plenty to get to, including crazy 48 hours in the NBA involving the Suns and T-Wolves. We'll explain. I'm Jason Page. This is the Cash In on the Sports Map Radio Network. Oh, my God, this thing feeding back again to me. Why is this doing this tonight? Check. Why is it?
Yeah, I heard that feedback. Jeez.
Is that?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's not a problem I've had before. I know why. I got it now. All right, we're better.
You sure?
Yeah, we're good. We're totally good. There's just so many settings on this thing. If I change one, when I do pre-tapes and I play back pre-tapes, I change a setting on the fader and I got to change it back. It's just all these things I have to remember to do, which when you're here, you can do.
No, because we'll be in the studio.
What was that?
No, because we'll be in the studio.
No, in a studio, you're going to be running this board.
The same board?
Yeah, same exact board I'm using. Because we don't need any. I mean, there's no need for anything more than this. We could do everything we need to do with this. Yeah, will I eventually get another board? Yeah. But
When you say studio, the studio is not your house, is it?
No. I sent you pictures of the space, if you remember.
I don't remember.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, we got the space is all picked out. It's just a question of moving in. Sports Map Radio, the Sports Map Radio Network. On YouTube, the Decibel 88 channel. On Facebook as well. Facebook Live. Glad to have you along for the ride. Thanks to Drew Pearson for stopping by in the first hour of the show. Always good to get a Hall of Fame wide receiver on the show. Good job, EVP. Executive producer Vladimir Lewisant. Or I said EVP. EVL is what I meant.
Yeah. It's EPV.
It's EPV. That's it.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's a good nickname. EPV, Vladimir Lewisant, getting us Drew Pearson. Kurt Heelan from Pro Basketball Talk at NBCSports.com will join us a little later on in this hour to get into some NBA conversation. Dodgers tonight actually trying to clinch. Have you heard this story? So the Dodgers celebrated. Thought they had won the division. Was the division or playoff spot? Playoff spot, right?
I believe clinch a playoff
Yeah, they thought they had clinched a playoff spot. And then Major League Baseball turned around and said, "Oh, we screwed up. Sorry, the math was wrong. You didn't actually clinch." So now, if they win again tonight, do they celebrate again?
They won last night.
All right, so then it's over. Okay, they don't have to worry about it. 3-0 Dodgers. Top of the fifth in Arizona tonight. Padres and Mariners 1-0 San Diego leading in Seattle. The Braves on top of the Giants 4-1 as they play in the bottom of the fourth at AT&T Park. Did you see that whole mess with the Giants and Gabe Kapler and the reliever for the Giants, whose name escapes me? Yeah, he came to take the ball, and pitcher had some not-so-nice words for him and kind of threw the ball in his hand. And Kapler just looked at him and you could tell it was on. And as soon as Kapler came to the dugout, he basically motioned over to the pitcher and marched him down into the tunnel to go hash it out. There's talk Gabe Kapler could be in trouble in San Francisco. It's what happens. It's what happens when you have an aberration. It's what happens when you have an aberration of a season like they did last year and make the playoffs and then come up so dreadfully short the following year. We'll do some NBA on the other side on the Cash In. I'm Jason Page. This is Sports Map Radio.
Really? After 2 seasons, you think?
Yeah, because the talk is he's lost the clubhouse, and when that starts to be the conversation, it's kind of hard to keep your job.
Bad. Yeah, it's bad. Because
who do you hire though?
Very well.
Who gets that job? It's a nice job. That would not be a bad job to get because they've got a lot of young. They've got a lot of young talent coming.
Joe Madden.
Could be a spot for him.
See, because the thing about Madden, winning that title with the Cubs is always going to give. It's always going to be looked upon very highly on his resume.
Yeah.
Other than other players.
Here comes the judge. Oh, I gotta get my John Sterling calls. Hold on. John Sterling.
Does he get 61 by this weekend?
I don't know about that. I mean, again, I keep waiting for people not to pitch to him, but you just never know. Oh, I got the judge homers. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he'll get 61.
Well, the question now is starting to become, does he get to 60? No, does he get to 61 in 154 games, which Maris did not do? Because Babe Ruth had 60 in 154. That was considered the record. And when Maris hit 61, a lot of people said, well, it should have an asterisk because he did it in 162 games. As a matter of fact, I think it did have an asterisk for a long time, and then they took it out.
Well, if he hits 4 home runs in the next 5 games, which I think he can.
But I'm saying if he hits 61 in 154 or less, that's really going to stir up a lot of conversation. What are you doing? Are you kidding me right now? My husband's running a blender.
I didn't get
like
that.
we're in America's America's test kitchen is 60 feet from me. What the hell? I'm like, what is that noise? I'm like, is there something wrong with the headset? Did Brian turn on a wrong fader?
It's 11:11. East Coast listeners, make a wish.
He is making a smoothie. I don't know if he made one for me or not. He did. Oh, he did. He's nodding his head yes.
Oh, well.
Then I do have to forgive him. I agree.
Chick saving a beauty.
Brian, when we come back from the breaks and go to the breaks that are hard outs, you're going to hear the music coming back to you only because I'm letting Vlad know that the music is playing, but then I'll turn it off.
The wins.
Sounds good.
And the stories behind it all. The Cash In with Jason Page continues.
Mike's hot.
Rolling along on this Tuesday night, I am Jason Page. Good to have you with us. Man, oh man. Great night in sports. The Yankees get a win. It looks like they've turned it around after that brutal month of August when everybody basically buried them. Now all of a sudden, go and look at their record for the month of September. It's pretty good. I'm guessing it's something like 8-4, something like that. Maybe 7-4. I'm telling you, they're back. They're back to their winning ways. Anyway, executive producer Vlad is back with us. He had some other obligations to take care of, so he couldn't be with us. But in case you missed it tonight, because we love John Sterling so much, and he is the Yankees radio announcer, we are proud to present to you home run number 57 from Aaron Judge.
Now the 1-1. Swung on, there it goes. Deep left field, it is high. It is far. It has gone out of the building. Over the high green monster. Over the monster seats. Out onto Lansbone. He is phenomenal. The second home run of the night for Judge. His 57th of the year. And we're all tied at 4.
389 feet, went out at 100 miles an hour, and Tommy Pham just had his hands on his hips and just watched it go out. And
I love it. Oh man! And
7-4 the Yankees are in September.
What? 7-4?
7-4.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought 8-4, 7-4. One of the coolest things, by the way, when Aaron Judge hit the home run, as he was coming into the dugout, some girl put her hand out. And he gave her a high five, and I mean, you could just see this girl's whole world was blown. It was like one of those, the head exploded and everything.
She's not washing her hand for the next 3 days.
Yeah, something like that. You're a little bassy, by the way. I just let you know. So credit to Aaron Judge, 56 and 57. And look, I tweeted this out earlier. If you don't follow me on Twitter, do so at the back page. It's how you win stuff on this show. You go on Twitter, you follow me at the back page, you simply send me a tweet, slide into my mentions, as the kids like to say, and you have a chance to win stuff. And on Wednesdays, we're giving stuff away. That's our giveaway day. Eventually, we're going to be giving stuff away a lot more often than that. But for now, Wednesday is giveaway day on the show. So follow me on Twitter, get into my mentions, which means just send me a message, and you'll have a chance to win something tomorrow. Easy as that. So the Yankees win 7-6. As I mentioned, they are now in the, they're game closer to winning the division. Certainly a game closer to being in the postseason as well. I want to do some NBA in this hour. Kurt Heelan will join us coming up in about 10 minutes. We'll talk with him from Pro Basketball Talk at NBCSports.com and get some thoughts with him on what has been a brutal 48 hours for the National Basketball Association, given some of the things that we learned about the Robert Sarver case, the disgraced owner of the Phoenix Suns, who's been banned for 1 year, and on top of that, fined $10 million. Now, I've never heard anybody describe as a 1-year ban and a $10 million fine as getting off easy, but in the case of Robert Sarver, a lot of people think he got off easy, considering what the results are of an investigation, an independent investigation that the NBA commissioned. Here's Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN talking about the Sarver suspension. Take a listen.
He is going to have to answer further
to how they took these findings. And, you read the full report, you see the conduct, again, mirroring very much of what Baxter Holmes had reported a year ago. And I think people are going to expect, further explanation from Adam Silver. The league has their board of governor meetings the next couple days. The owners are in New York. Adam Silver probably usually speaks at the end of those board of governor meetings. And I think certainly there'll be more questions about the league's findings and why there was not a move to essentially push Robert Sarver out of the league.
It's a fair question. How does Donald Sterling get a lifetime ban and basically, well, not lifetime ban, he's forced to sell the team, which for all intents and purposes is a ban. You make him sell the team, and I remember how mad Adam Silver was about that whole thing. Matter of fact, Vlad may remember, I actually asked a question of Adam Silver at his press conference where they announced their plans to have Donald Sterling sell the team.
You went
That's
to
right.
the press conference, didn't you?
I was there. I asked the last question of the press conference too. And if he gets a basically an order to sell the team, I mean, go and read the allegations, and not even just the allegations. They're not allegations anymore. They're findings. Go and read the findings of this independent investigation that a law firm from New York did. And you try to explain to me how the hell this guy is being made to sell the team. And it's not once or twice. This is a culture of inappropriate behavior. Lewd comments. Dropping the N-word several times. By the way, he owns an NBA team. Most of the guys in the NBA, they're black. They are. It's true. I mean, I don't know how. I don't think this story is over. And we'll talk about it with Kurt Healing coming up in a few minutes. I don't think this story ends here. I think we're talking about a situation where as more and more of these details come out, if the sports media sticks on this story and doesn't get distracted by the next shiny object that comes in their way, I think this thing for Sarver may not be over. I think he could wind up losing the team.
I think he might
and he
lose
should.
the team, but he's going to sell the team, right?
I have no idea.
I mean, he's going to sell. I mean, think about it. If it's similar to a Donald Sterling situation, Sterling still made out with some money out of this.
Oh, yeah. No, he would still, listen, he's still going to get money.
He's going to definitely make some money out of this because
Absolutely.
the Phoenix Suns are one of the best teams in the NBA.
Yes.
And with young stars, so whoever's willing to buy that team is going to be buying.
Oh, right. No, I'm not doubting any of that he won't make money on it, but he may be forced to sell the team, which, I mean,
he probably is.
There is nothing more in terms of shaming a man than basically forcing him to sell his franchise that he owns. And the board of governors, the NBA board of governors still has the opportunity to do that. Whether they do or not, that is the question. But I think they have to. I mean, I don't know how you can have this man ever lead this organization again. It's not as if this was a one-off. This was a culture in which this man conducted himself in an inappropriate way. I don't know how you possibly let somebody like that remain in power. But we'll wait and see. And the only reason, and I'll tell you the person applauding Sarver in the NBA the most right now, you know who it is? It's Anthony Edwards. It's Anthony Edwards, the 21-year-old T-Wolves star, who's got to do better. Who, if you missed it, put out a video on TikTok where he can be heard referring to a bunch of men scantily clad on the streets somewhere as the Q word, which I will not use, and I will not play the video because I thought what he did was pretty disgraceful. And he has since apologized, but now the wonder is, how is he going to be punished by the league? There is precedent for these sorts of things. What kind of punishment is coming the way of towards Anthony Edwards? We're going to have to wait and see. But he's in some hot water too. What'd you say?
What did Kobe get for calling that official?
I think if I'm not mistaken,
there's a fine. I believe
there's a fine. I don't even know if there's a suspension involved. It's just fines that these guys get.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fine. Yeah,
it's gonna be a fine. And he could say all he wants that, oh, this isn't who I am. But if you listen to the video, I guarantee it ain't the first time that word's come out of his mouth. Guarantee it. And for the record, Anthony Edwards plays in Minneapolis. Anybody who knows anything, well, most people may not know this. Top 5 cities, gays per capita, LGBTQ plus community. Minneapolis is one of the largest gay communities in the country. So that's not a good look for that organization. Are they going to cut him? No. Are they going to trade him? No. Because none of these organizations have a backbone when it comes to this stuff. And I'm not even necessarily saying they should cut him or trade him. I mean, God knows I wouldn't want to be judged for some of the things I said when I was 21. I just know I probably didn't say anything that offended any group that way. At least I don't remember anyway.
Oh, now you don't remember.
I'm hedging. That's called a hedge.
He made a big mistake, man. Kobe was fined $100,000 for calling.
I think Durant got hit for about $50K, if I'm not mistaken, for what he said. So there's been instances of this stuff. And my God, the league's not even willing to ban a man for life for the stuff Robert Sarver said. They're certainly not going to do anything big to Anthony Edwards, one of their big young stars. All right, Kurt Heelan's going to join us on the other side. Pro Basketball Talk, NBCSports.com. We'll get some thoughts with him on that. Also, the Stephen Curry story in Rolling Stone with him talking about, hey, we were kicking the tires on Kevin Durant. Is it a story? I don't know. We'll talk about it with Kurt Heelan, who joins us next. I'm Jason Page. This is The Cash In on the Sports Map Radio Network.
You're clear. He's in the match. One team.
Hey, Vlad, did he say he was coming on FaceTime or what?
No.
Just phone?
I just told him phone. I just didn't say anything.
Yeah, try to get these guys on FaceTime. I mean, obviously not Drew Pearson, but guys like Heelan. When he came on with us a long time ago and we did that thing on Twitch, he was able to do video. Where's Kurt? Did you send me Kurt's number?
No, you need it?
Let me see. I might have it.
It's not pessimism, it's just experience, right? It's got to be experience.
No, I need it.
Everyone's dancing at Citi Field. Everybody's
thought I had it.
All right, the game should be coming on back on in the next 25 minutes or so.
Right.
I'll text you and let you know. But
you send me his number because I got to call him.
I just sent it to you.
All right.
I'm sorry if it's not going fast. I am using the Wi-Fi in the studio.
It's all right.
And it's not the strongest.
Binge-worthy pop culture, health, and much more. That's BLEAV, the #1 content network for professionals. Do you believe? Just saying it with Cole Thomas.
They got to sell the Suns to a black owner. Or a minority, a black-led minority group.
Have practice by themselves. Dan Campbell turned over the whistle. He turned over the clipboard. He gave it to his offense. He gave it to his defense. You put it together. That is the future of the NFL. So what is Dan Campbell doing? He's saying this is important for us to be one mind, one body, one motion. They are one big pride up in Detroit. Dan Campbell is going to make the Lions something. I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know how long until they're back in the postseason. I do not know if they have the right roster right now to be a contender. But players love him. They would do anything to protect him, and he would do anything to protect his players. That is something needed in today's NFL.
Just saying it. Weekdays from 3 a.m. to 7 a.m.
Wake up call. A lot of buzz with the Steelers. If Mitch Trubisky's going to start the season as the veteran quarterback, do you think that's...
All right, I'm on mute.
All right.
I want to see Kenny
Thanks.
Pickett right away. I kind of always use that little line that Billy Crystal tells Meg Ryan and When Harry Met Sally. When you meet somebody that you want to spend the rest of your life with, you want the rest of your life to start right now, which is a pretty good line. Nobody ever says it in real life. If no one else is going to use it for romance, I might as well use it for sports, right?
Wake Up Call with Tony B and Ron Culver. Weekday mornings from 7 to...
Here we go.
Don't turn my mic on yet. Kurt, stand by.
Sounds good.
Thanks.
Sweating it out together. The Cash Good.
Yep.
Page. Sports Map Radio Network. Mike's hot.
We continue. Glad to be with you on this Tuesday night edition of The Cash In. Sports Map Radio, the Sports Map Radio Network, the Sports Map Radio app. And been a while since I talked to this guy on the radio. One of my favorite basketball guys to chat with. He is Kurt Heelan, does a great job NBC Sports, Pro Basketball Talk, and joins us for a few minutes today on the show to talk about a couple of NBA stories that the league would probably rather we're not talking about, Kurt.
Exactly. Wouldn't you much rather talk about how bad the Rams are or something? Come on.
We did. We've done plenty of that. Don't worry. We've talked about Dak Prescott. We've talked about Nathaniel Hackett's terrible play calling. So that just brings us to you. We did all that in the first hour. So I'll ask you the same question. A lot of people are asking: did Robert Sarver get off easy?
Yeah, I think so. I think that considering we're talking about an 18-year span. I mean that this wasn't. He got basically the punishment the Mavericks got for a much shorter period thing that wasn't directly involving Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban messed up with oversight. Like, I don't want to make him blameless in this, but Mark Cuban wasn't, dropping the N-word and saying pretty horrific things to people in the office and sending them pornographic videos. It's just all sorts of stuff that was just way over the line. So yeah, I think that he got off pretty light on this one.
Does the story end here though, or is it because the reaction to the sanctions from the league has been met with a lot of anger from those that were in and still are in the Phoenix Suns organization? Is there a chance that if the outrage is enough, and I'll also say this, if the media sticks with it, because this is not a fun thing to talk about. It's not, everybody's trying to get away from the PC conversation in sports and stick more to the games. If the media doesn't stick on this and continue to cover the fallout from it, it probably goes away. But if there continues to be an outrage and people screaming that he's got to sell the team if he made Donald Sterling sell the team, is there a chance that this doesn't end with this punishment?
There is a chance, but I don't think it's an accident that the league dropped this literally in the deadest part of the NBA offseason where, we're like, hey, oh my God, the Nets might sign a 15th player to their roster type of news is breaking. It's not an accident because after this initial storm, I think that that's exactly what they're counting on. That this is going to kind of go away. There'll be a little push around the start of training camp, but obviously Sarver won't be there. And to a man, they will all say, man, we're just trying to move forward. We've got a chance to compete, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, so there's a real chance. And the thing that's different, you've got to remember there was with Sterling, big player pushback, right? Like not only the protest by the Clippers and the Warriors at the time, but I mean, LeBron James is talking about it. Everybody is talking about it. And B, this was the big thing everybody kind of forgets. Sponsors started pulling out. State Farm, CarMax, Corona, like on and down. A bunch of major league sponsors and Clipper sponsors started pulling back.
But that could happen. But Kurt, that could happen here now that those sponsors are sealing this.
That's what. Look, if there's going to be a real change, that's what changes. That's what moves the needle. Is that hey, there's a lot of owners in glass houses not looking to throw stones right now. These are billionaires, and then most of them did not get to most of them. Can you become a billionaire and be a Saint? I don't really know that that's possible. But there's a lot of guys who would really like this conversation to go away. But the second the money gets involved, if their sponsors start pulling out money, the second that happens, the whole conversation will change really fast. So we'll see if the pressure keeps up and if some sponsors back away.
Talking with Kurt Heelan, Pro Basketball Talk at NBCSports.com. He does a great job on the NBA. And the only person probably that was happy that is NBA related to this story was Anthony Edwards, because it took him off the headlines for a day after what could best be described as an inappropriate comment that he made in a TikTok video about a group of men standing outside with their shirts off, and a couple of them wearing harnesses, and you get Anthony Edwards out there using the Q word on them in a derogatory manner. How is the NBA going to treat this? Is it going to be the slap on the wrist we've seen for guys like Kevin Durant and Kobe Bryant?
I would imagine so. My guess is that, again, this is going to happen in the offseason before they get back to training camp. He will get somewhere between 50 and 100,000 is kind of the going rate, depending. And, again, you could tell somebody got to him fast from the Timberwolves. That was down quickly, and the apology tweet was up, and the team came in and disassociated itself, and all that swell. But it's a sort of Sarver situation. If you really want to end it, if you just slap him on the wrist, somebody else is going to somebody else will make this mistake. If you make this a little more, if you suspend him for a couple of games, then it's different, right? Then guys notice, and if guys are losing a couple of games paycheck, they feel it, and that whole vibe changes. So we'll see what the league does, but my guess is this is the Adam Silver NBA, where pretty much all fines and suspensions. Well, I still feel like it's roulette. Like, I can never predict it. Like, it's going to be some random number. They tend to be light. It doesn't come down heavy like Stern used to.
Talking with Kurt Heelan, Pro Basketball Talk at NBCSports.com. It made big headlines the night before the Anthony Edwards story, and that was Stephen Curry. It was 3 weird days. You had the Curry story in Rolling Stone. Then you had Anthony Edwards the next day, and now the Sarver story. Some thoughts on Stephen Curry and the comments he made to Rolling Stone regarding Kevin Durant, saying, hell yeah, we were interested in the idea of a trade to bring Durant back. I mean, look, I get that Curry's being honest. I don't know how to kind of gauge, why you make this sort of thing public. Try and give me some sort of sense for how we should read into the way Curry treated this. Is it an olive branch to Durant? Is it trying to help, Durant sort of replenish his image with everything that's taken place over the last several months with the Nets? What is this?
My read, and I'm going to let you guys in on just a little psychology here. Steph Curry likes to win, and Kevin Durant's really good at winning basketball games. And I think on a very basic level, he was being honest about that. And I don't think the Warriors, as an organization, and starting with their ownership and Joe Lacob, is very into the idea. Like, they are very excited about the idea that, hey, we won it all last year, and we've still got Jordan Poole and Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody and maybe James Wiseman, if he can, we'll see where he lands. But, like, hey, we're building a bridge to the future while we're still winning. And they're very into this idea. You'd have to give a lot of that up to get Kevin Durant. But, again, you get a healthy, focused Kevin Durant on that roster, and they're back to being heavy favorites in the West. I think Steph Curry likes that idea more than management. And I think it was a little bit of an olive branch and a little bit of, hey, Kevin, with this, like, if you're motivated, like, we'd be into this. I don't know. First off, Kevin Durant's a little hard to predict, but I don't know if Kevin would want to do that. Like, does he wants to win. He's talked in the past about how much he enjoyed that experience, but does that feel like a step back for him?
I think it is.
Yeah, I think it would be. I think he would be bothered by the perception that he's just going back to what's safe, as opposed to trying to make it work in Brooklyn. Even though I think there are very legitimate questions that even if Kevin Durant is healthy for 70 games and plays like an MVP, whether if that comes together, then there's only 14 other questions about these Brooklyn Nets.
Kurt Halen, Pro Basketball Talk at NBCSports.com. It's a pleasure to catch up with you, my friend. I'm sure we'll talk again as we get closer to the season. Be well.
You too. I'd love to come on and talk about how Notre Dame is going to have the greatest comeback in college football history this season. So whenever you're ready, man.
That would be man. It is legal in California, so you must be smoking something. I'll talk to you later, my friend. Kurt Halen joining us on the show. We're back with more. Stick around. Thanks to Kurt. I'm Jason Page. It's the Cash In on the Sports Map Radio Network.
Okay, we are running a car drive right now.
You're clear.
All
Thanks,
across America.
Hey, when we came back,
I forgot to hit the button. Sorry, I just fixed it. Sorry about that. He only ate like 8 o'clock, just before 8. Yeah. How was your workout?
The Cash In with Jason Page on the Sports Map Radio Network.
Thank you, Chad Erickson. Coming up in hour number 3 of the show, there's one notable streak that came to an end earlier tonight, but it's not the only streak that's come to an end. I will tell you what I'm talking about coming up in about 25 minutes. So one former NFL head coach is trashing one of the league's young quarterbacks. And look, I don't know. I don't know if Mike Martz has an axe to grind or, maybe Trey Lance did something to him. I don't know. Because I read a lot of anger coming out of Mike Martz in his comments that he made on Mike Tannenbaum. Oh, that's Vlad. Vlad gets like PTSD when I say Mike Tannenbaum's name. Probably starts twitching.
I hate that, man.
Starts twitching. Starts punching things.
Why you do that, man? I was in nice mood. I was in a peaceful chi, and you mentioned Mike Tannenbaum.
Well, Mike Tannenbaum has a podcast. It's called The 33rd Team. I'm not joking. That's the name of his podcast. And former 49ers offensive coordinator and former NFL coach Mike Martz was a guest on the podcast. And he had a few choice things to say about Trey Lance and Justin Fields in what has been described as an acrimonious segment after the Week 1 game between the two teams. I've never liked him, he said of Lance. I still don't like him. I've never seen anything about this kid that was encouraging at all. He said he really has to plant himself to make a good throw. He's not a quick decision guy. Everybody's shot in the rear about him. Everybody's shot in the rear about him for being a mobile guy making plays with his feet. He looked like a fullback looking around to stumble, trying to run the ball to me. He's not Lamar Jackson. I don't know what he is. He's not a particularly good guy running with the football. And based on what I saw today, talking about that Sunday loss to the Bears, he missed two guys completely by themselves. I know it was in the rain, but quarterbacks do that. You make those throws. Lance was 13 of 28 for 164 yards. Didn't find the end zone in the 19-10 loss to the Bears on Sunday. He did run for 54 yards on 13 carries. Again, sloppy field conditions. Now, look, Mike Martz has looked at game film his whole life, so I'm not one to second-guess or question whether he knows what he's talking about. He obviously does. Might he be going over? I don't know. But he obviously is not much of a fan of Trey Lance. After he was let go by the Rams, Martz had short stints as the OC for the Lions, 49ers, and Bears. Hasn't coached in the league in a long time.
Yeah, he burned bridges.
He did, but it doesn't mean he's wrong. It doesn't mean he's right. It's just his opinion. But he was vociferous in his negativity towards Trey Lance.
He had his chest out. He was speaking very boldly. But I will say this. Niners are in trouble if they lose to Seattle on Sunday. Have you seen that schedule?
Look, yeah, I have. And I don't like to try and bury anybody after 0-2, but it's interesting you should mention that. Because Mike Martz thinks that Jimmy Garoppolo will be the starting quarterback for the 49ers by the end of the year, and not because of injury.
By the end of the year, I think he's going to be the starting quarterback by week 5.
Can I tell you? You want to read? You ready for this? You're going to get a kick out of this. I wouldn't be surprised to see them go with Jimmy G here by the 4th week because they're not going any place where they are now, Martz said.
That's what I agree. I said week 5 because they lose to Seattle, right? If Geno the God does some Geno magic all of a sudden, Seattle beats San Francisco. Then they have to go to Denver at Mile High, and I don't think Trey Lance is ready for Mile High. Then they have the Rams on Monday night. Now, I know they played very well against the Rams. They have the Rams number during the regular season.
Yes.
But 0-3 Monday night against the defending champions. You lose that game, you're 0-4.
Let this be said, though. This is also the same Mike Martz that, had a love affair with JT O'Sullivan. He once told the Fox broadcast team O'Sullivan, quote, could be the best quarterback he ever coached. So I'm just saying, it's his credibility, not so good in that department. But again, these guys know how to watch film. They know what to look for on the, the all 24, the all 26, whatever. If you watch games enough, and I would love to go back. The one cool thing about YouTube TV is it saves all the NFL games when NFL Network replays them all. So I can go back and watch. I'd like to try and, before we get to Thursday or Friday, I'd like to go and try and watch that game back because I didn't get to see. What happened was See, what had happened was on Sunday, I was on the golf course. And when you live on the West Coast, as you well know, Vlad, NFL games start at 10 o'clock. Well, the earliest tee time I could get on Sunday was 10 a.m. I was playing behind the slowest foursome in the history of golf, lining up putts like it's the Masters or the Live Golf event for $50 million. I'm literally just we're standing on tee boxes watching these guys on par threes get on a knee and line up, and we're just looking at them like, come on, are you serious? Like, come on, man.
And you missed the first week of the 2022.
No, I didn't miss it. I missed the first hour. I missed the first hour of the 10 o'clock of the 10 a.m. games. So it wasn't like I was completely out of commission, but I missed the first hour of the 10 o'clock games. And we were actually monitoring the 49ers Bears game on YouTube TV on our phone in the golf cart. But point is, I didn't get to see every snap, and I'd like to go back particularly and look at that Trey Lance game to kind of see if I can see some of what Mike Martz was seeing and kind of give my own assessment, because I only caught the second half of the game. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. By the way, 7 a.m. tee time tomorrow. Be out there. I think before the end of the show, we should set an over-under on my score. I'll go 89.5.
94.
I've been consistently
94.
in my golf comeback, because I stopped playing for about 10 years. In my golf comeback, I'm consistently right now around 90. So I'll set the number at 89.5. Breaking 90 is not easy when you don't play for a long time, and in my case.
Shooting over.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go under. I think a smart bet would be under.
Because you're talking very highly of yourself right now, and you're gonna shank some. That's it.
No, I don't hit any shanks. I don't hit any shanks. It's my iron game that's just a little rusty.
Please record this so that I can see the shanks.
Well, we'll see how I do. So Mike Martz was one story I wanted to hit. And the other was rather interesting. It's something we often discuss in the sports media. But now you're hearing a couple of different players talk about it. What am I talking about? Pressure. The old saying, creates diamonds, bursts pipes. And we've now heard a couple of players this year talk in particular about the weight of pinstripes, about the weight of expectations that come for playing for the New York Yankees. And it makes you wonder if free agents, there was a time where, the Yankees, my God, coming to New York is, the place you want to be. It's, you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. One of the top organizations, they're always going to have a chance at the postseason every year. Joey Gallo was thrilled when he got traded from the Rangers to New York, even though he loved playing for the Rangers. The opportunity to play in New York, by the time he left, he was practically wearing earmuffs on the field because of how badly he was being crucified, figuratively speaking, by the fans in New York. And now another player is speaking out in this regard, and it's one I don't think I would have expected to hear this from. Jordan Montgomery, who's now become the second coming of Cy Young in St. Louis with the Cardinals. Thanks, Brian Cashman. Traded in August, said to the R2C2 podcast, I don't make these names up, explain the difficulties of pitching for the Yankees. Quote, I was always worried about getting booed off the mound in New York, Montgomery told Yankees pitcher CC Sabathia and broadcaster Ryan Rucco. The pinstripes are heavy. Not everyone can handle it. I feel like I handled it okay. I could have been better, but there was a lot of things going into that, I guess. But here in St. Louis, I'm just being myself and pitching the way I want to. I guess the fans have kind of embraced me so far. Now, this is something, it's really interesting. You don't generally hear players talk about the weight of pressure. Guys always kind of slough it off. It's a game, blah, blah, blah. Now you're starting to hear guys talk about this stuff more. The Players Tribune has sort of opened people up, giving them that forum. And now you're seeing former players and even current players with their own podcasts and really making their own mark in media. And you're getting a lot more honesty and candor from professional athletes these days because of things like this, because of, CC Sabathia having his own podcast and a former Yankee feeling like, hey, I can go on there and talk about this sort of thing. But Montgomery has been, by the way, nothing short of sensational in St. Louis. 5-0, 1.45 ERA, a .9 whip through 7 starts. I mean, he's just been nothing short of sensational since getting over there. But it makes you wonder if there are some free agents out there and say, you know what, man? And look, players all talk to each other. Everybody's friends. It's not like the old days where, rival, even Yankees, Red Sox. I'm watching them on the field tonight, and they're all talking to each other and being chummy and all that. Yeah, it's the rivalry, and there'll always be a little heat that comes with it. But players are all friends. They're all represented by the same agents. There's not that many agents representing a ton of players in baseball. So I'm kind of interested. I'm kind of interested to see if players maybe start to get this idea that, hey, I can win in a lot of places, and yeah, it'd be nice to win in New York, but do I want the headaches that come along with it? And I think there are some guys out there that are going to simply say, yeah, you know what, I'm cool with not doing that. I mean, you could play in put it this way, Vlad. You could play in the second largest media market in the country, like Los Angeles, where nobody cares if you're failing. Let's be honest about it. Other than if you're the Lakers, who really cares out here?
No, they love the Dodgers.
They love the Dodgers, but
they love the Dodgers. So if the Dodgers were failing, like if Mookie Betts was failing, or Freddie Freeman was having, crying and regretting that he left Atlanta to come to LA and wasn't performing, then yeah, I think that would be big stories. But no, they're 50 games above 500, celebrating early playoff berths, so they're good. Now, down south, where in Orange County, where we talked about yesterday, yeah, they don't care, even though that Mike Trout, he's performing, but they're underperforming as an organization. Now, for the Yankees, it's two things.
I think we might have just lost Vlad. Vlad, are you there? We might have just lost Vlad's connection. All right, we'll try to get Vlad back up. But he is right about South Florida is a completely different animal. But I'm talking about major media markets. I mean, obviously in a place like New York, there is a rabid culture. And when it comes to all sports, there is that rabid culture. But I mean, LA, again, other than maybe the Dodgers, nobody really cares. Joey Gallo can come to LA and hide and still hit 200, which is what he's hitting. I think he's hitting about 210 since he came to LA, and they're celebrating the guy because he's made a couple of nice throws, hit a couple of home runs, and the team's 50 games over 500. Same thing, and I hate to say it, but it was kind of the same thing with the Yankees. Yeah, fans were booing them, but it got a lot worse in August when the Yankees were terrible, or late July when the Yankees were terrible. All right, we'll come back. We'll wrap up the hour, tell you what we got coming up for the final hour of the Cash In. I'm Jason Page. This is Sports Map Radio. Yeah, you disconnected for a second, Vlad. So I just brought you down. Let me see your Bluetooth. Yeah, we're still having issues. Yeah, you had a bad connection. You there, Vlad? All right, we're coming back. Just a quick segment here.
Sports talk, only better. The Cash In with Jason Page continues on the Sports Map Radio Network.
Mike's hot.
Getting set to wrap up this hour of the show. If you miss anything from the 3-hour program, we have a podcast. It goes up every night after the show has concluded. Producer, engineer extraordinaire Brian McDonald will put it together tonight. We take a few segments from every show and make them available to you. So you can check that out when you get up on your way to work tomorrow. If you can't stay awake for the whole show, go and check that out. In the next hour of the program, I want to get into the latest betting odds for the baseball postseason. Go through some of the action from tonight. There are still some wild card races to talk about. There are still a couple of divisions worth talking about. Obviously, the Mets and the Braves battling it out in the NL East. And one streak that has come to an end. There's one notable streak that came to an end tonight, that of Mike Trout. But there was another streak that is coming to an end. And for one fan base, it is something they are definitely celebrating. We'll get to that. Live Golf, the season-ending championship. We're going to talk about that as well. And why bad teams need to celebrate anything. You can always tell who the bad teams are because they're always celebrating everything that has nothing to do with what's going on the field. We'll get to all that and more as we continue with the next hour of the Cash In. I'm Jason Page. This is the Sports Map Radio Network. When I bring, well, no, you get, what I'm saying is you get, the reason you're getting that echo, that was what I was telling you about before. I was doing it on purpose because the only way Vlad, my producer who's in Miami, the only way he can hear the music when we come in and out of breaks is if I hit a button, because then you'll notice I hit the button and it goes away. You know what I'm talking about? That's going out over the... See, that shouldn't go out. See, Austin said there was no issue with that. Huh. Huh, that's weird. Because Austin said that was no problem. All right, well, I just won't do it then. That's all. Nope. Vlad, I'm taking my earbuds out for a minute. Final hour on this Tuesday/Wednesday. I am Jason. If you're just tuning in, well, you missed a good show. It's not to say the final hour won't be good, but you missed a good show. We had Hall of Famer Drew Pearson on the program, former Cowboys great, the original 88. Chatted with him a bit about the Cowboys woes. We also were joined by Kurt Heelan from Pro Basketball Talk at NBCSports.com and got into a little bit of the, controversies that, and I say that in the plural, that are plaguing the NBA. So we did that too. It's funny, we were talking before about Aaron Judge slapping that girl high five. Let's see. Let me go around here. Hey, Brian, I don't know how many live sporting events you've gone to. Have you ever, this is our producer engineer in Houston, Brian McDonald. Have you ever had like an experience with a pro athlete at a sporting event as a fan, not as media? Have you ever had an experience with somebody? Okay. So Clemens when he wasn't a player, yeah, that doesn't count. It's close though. It doesn't quite meet the standard. Vlad, have you had one?
No.
Really? You've never had an event? You've never had an experience as a fan that, like, oh my God, like starstruck, awestruck, nothing?
No. Like, I mean, I've met them, but not to the point like where if I shook their hands, I'm going to be saying like I won't clean my hands or anything like that.
I've got one. Yeah, I've got one. Hold on. I've got one. And anybody who loves wrestling is going to love mine. I promise you. We'll get to it next on The Cash In. I'm Jason Page. This is Sports Map Radio. It's called a tease for a reason, Brian. No, I'm absolutely teasing you because I want your reaction to be genuine. How old are you, Brian? Okay, then you will appreciate this story. It's definitely worth saving. King Kong Bundy.
Is it really going to be King Kong Bundy?
Did King Kong Bundy ever hold WWF gold?
No.
I remember that. Of course, WrestleMania 2.
No,
and he also held him when Andre the Giant came and attacked him on Saturday night's main event.
Who? Hogan?
It's funny. I can't remember what I had for breakfast this morning, but there are some wrestling things from my childhood that stick with me like it was yesterday.
Of course, it was Saturday morning. That was your Saturday morning routine.
That's right, he is. What'd you say, Vlad?
Who? It was your Saturday morning routine. Of course you're going to remember what happened.
It was the Saturday morning routine.
Shango,
it's true.
When Papa Shango had made Ultimate
Papa Shango,
all that goop come out of his head. Remember?
Right. Mm-hmm.
When I saw that goop come out of, all that nastiness come out of Ultimate Warrior's head when he was talking to Mean Gene, when Papa Shango was doing his voodoo on him, it was crazy.
Remember the missing link?
Of course, everybody remembers the Berserker. There's some crazy names Vince was coming up with, man.
Yeah. Gobbledygooker.
Oh, man. That was a big waste.
What'd you say? What did you say, Brian? I have not seen a single one, and I'm pissed at myself because the problem is they're on Sunday nights. There's a lot of things I watch on Sunday nights, like I'm a Walking Dead guy and stuff like that. So, but I am going to go back and watch the A&E documentary series that was on this year, this summer.
Oh no, they're good. They're really
yeah,
good.
I know. The last one was WrestleMania too. I want to see that.
Oh, the 3-1 when Vince really got crazy. When Vince really thought he had a big brass balls. What are you laughing
That's wild.
at? You love how I'm producing? I'm listening to a soccer game.
That's crazy.
By the way, no goals have been scored in the second half.
All right. Stand by, coming back. Okay, so I was asking the guys before the break about the best moment they ever had at a live sports event or sports entertainment event. If they had ever had an experience like tonight, Aaron Judge hit his 57th home run, and there was a girl or a woman on the side of the, near the Yankee dugout, and she put her hand out, and Aaron Judge gave her a high five. And you could just tell this woman was in awe of the moment. Oh my God, Aaron Judge gave me a high five. And it got me to wondering, what was the greatest experience you've ever had as a fan at a game? Not as a member of the media, but as a fan. I mean, I've met everybody, almost everybody, or been in a locker room with everybody that you can imagine over the course of 25 years. I'm sure Vlad has, and Brian, our engineer, producer, probably has too. So I was asking the question, who have you ever met? Vlad didn't have any. Brian said he met Roger Clemens after he had retired at a game somewhere. I'll give you mine. This is crazy, but this is all I got. When I was a little kid, the WWF, because it's based in Stamford, Connecticut, used to always be at the New Haven Coliseum in New Haven, Connecticut. And, New Haven and Hartford were always stops, Poughkeepsie and, Worcester and all these places. But New Haven was always a main stop for the WWF. They even had, I think the last event ever held at the New Haven Coliseum was actually Monday Night Raw. And then that was it. They blew up the arena. So I was at a WWF event when I was a little kid. I don't know the exact year. I've gone back and looked online, and I found the card that this happened at. I don't remember. But Tito Santana and Ricky Steamboat were tag team in the main event at this WWF event at the New Haven Coliseum. So this had to be in the 80s. And when the event ended, my brother and my cousin and I, we went and tried to sneak out a quicker exit through the floor of the arena. And as we're walking back there, who do we run into? Tito Santana and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. And they both looked at us like, what are you doing here? And we were like, oh, we're just leaving. And they're like, and Tito Santana, I remember it specifically. Tito Santana said, you're not supposed to be here. And we got to see him and went on our way. But that was my like, as a kid, that was the one I got, was Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and Tito Santana. So there you go.
And Tito Santana.
Yeah.
Arriba.
He was an Intercontinental Champion.
Of course.
He had the IC.
Macho Man.
He had the IC title. Great. Wait, the Macho Man was greatest IC champion, Brian? Oh God.
No, he's not.
He said the
honky
tonk man.
No, it's not the honky tonk man. You know who might be the greatest IC champion of all time?
Who is the greatest IC champion of all time?
Might be The Miz.
Oh, come on, The Miz? Really?
Hate all you want. He's a 9-time champion. That's all I'm saying.
Brian and Vlad may come to blows on this. That was a prestigious title.
It was.
And noticed I said was a prestigious title. Yeah, I don't know what you got. What do you guys think of Dave Meltzer, Vlad?
I love Meltzer.
Do you like Meltzer?
Everybody hates Meltzer.
Brian, do you like Dave Meltzer? So I was thinking when we get to some of these big pay-per-views, I keep calling them pay-per-views. Vlad's going to make fun of me. I'm a boomer. I know. Premium events. When we get to some of these premium events where there's betting odds and stuff, I want to get Meltzer on one of these times. Because he is prominent in the industry, and he clearly has some sources. He can't guess on everything. He's got to have some sources. So maybe we'll and you're never going to let him forget it, are you, Brian? King Mabel. All right, I got to get out of wrestling, otherwise I'm going to lose our audience. Listen, I could do the wrestling stuff.
You're wrong. If you talk wrestling, you gain more of your audience.
Nah, I can't. Listen, I can't, because I don't follow it as rigorously as some people do. I watch the big events. I'll go back, and now I DVR Raw. I fast forward through all the matches and just get to all the promos and all the important stuff. I'm not watching AEW. I caught a few things from it, and it kind of lost me, even though it is really good. But that's kind of a mess right now with Tony Khan and everything going on over there. The guy's getting injured. They're not even going to have CM Punk for their big event in New York at the U.S. Tennis Center at Arthur Ashe. Yeah.
That's CM Punk's fault. That's his fault.
No, I know. I'm just saying it's they're kind of a mess right now. What, Brian? You were going to say something. Now, okay. Now's your moment. I could tell you're, as Colin Cowherd would call him. Why do I feel? Hey, Vlad, does this feel familiar? By the way, didn't we have another engineer producer that we worked with that loved to talk about wrestling?
Nick Hagan, baby. You got Nick Hagan again.
Good times. Good times. So Mike Trout's home run streak, not the only streak that is over. We'll get to that coming up in a few minutes. The betting odds on baseball, they are a-changin'. I was looking through them before we came on the air tonight, and the futures are kind of the future is interesting. The futures are kind of interesting right now. So here we go. Outright betting for the World Series right now. All right. Vlad, who do you think is number one?
Dodgers got to be favored like plus 350.
Plus 320. The next team on the list?
It's got to be the Stros. Plus 450.
Plus 400. Third?
I'm going to go with the Braves since they're moving up.
They're fifth. Try again.
Oh, so that means the Yankees. So that means the Yankees are still number 3. They're probably at a plus 6. No, not the Yankees.
Try again. The Mets are ahead of the Yankees right now, and I think that's insane. Well, that's because
no, because the Yankees played like crap in August. They just think they started now, like you're saying, even though I don't think they're winning games, but I don't know if they're playing well. But the Mets, Mets overtook them. Remember, the Yankees had the best record in baseball.
Yes, but this thing changed. But this stuff, I get it. But
listen.
Okay, go ahead.
6 weeks, that July and August.
Yes,
they were bad.
They were. But here's the thing. But here's the thing. There's been a good 2-week sampling now where you kind of get the sense the Yankees are coming out of it, and the Mets are not playing well.
Jason, when you say that, you sound like a fan of the Yankees.
Not at all. Listen, I want to see the Mets. I want to see the Mets go far. I'm not one of these Met haters or anything.
No, I'm not, and I'm not a Mets hater either. But when you're looking at the team, you're looking at the team and the pitching staff, everything. The Mets were right now. The Mets were playing better than the Yankees.
Not right now. They're not.
The 2 aces.
Not right now. They're not. 2 weeks ago they were. They're not right now.
You're talking about the last 6 games?
No, I'm talking about the last 2 weeks. No, I'm talking about the last 2 weeks. If you look at it by the numbers, the last 2 weeks, the Yankees have been better. And frankly, and honestly, but hold on. Let's even just skip that. Talk about the course of the entire season. And then the final 2 weeks where we are on top of it right now, the Yankees should be ahead of the Mets. I wouldn't have, and not to mention the fact that where the Mets are right now as a wild card team, they're going to have a much tougher road than the Yankees will as a division winner to getting to the World Series. So just that alone, even if you want to say, are the Yankees better than the Mets road is just going to be tougher. They got to get by the Braves and the Dodgers. For the Yankees, there's really one team that most people think is sort of their kryptonite, and that's obviously the Astros. But let me get through this real quick. Astros are plus 400. The Mets are plus 500. And I got to say this, the Yankees at plus 600 are a steal right now. Plus 600 for that team? Yeah, they had a bad stretch. I get it.
You letting the pinstripes blind you?
No, I'm not. Plus 600, I would take that all day. Look, I mean, all of it, when you talk about this postseason, and I talked about this, I don't know, yesterday or the day before, I think there's a lot of teams that could get hot and get on a run and do some special things in October. So I'm certainly not saying the Yankees are some prohibitive favorite. But at plus 600, fourth best odds, Braves are plus 850. And then there's a whole bunch of, I'll even go here. Toronto plus 1,700. St. Louis plus 1,800. The Mariners plus 2,000. The Rays plus 2,800 and the Padres plus 3,500. And I'll throw a couple other teams. Phillies plus 3,500 and then the Guardians. That's everybody basically who's in the postseason as of today. Plus 5,000 for the Guardians. I'll be honest, I love the Cardinals. Plus 1,800. It's a big number. Like Seattle's dangerous. Their pitching worries me, though. After Castillo, I worry about the rest of that rotation. Tampa Bay at 2,800. Some of the World Series odds as they stand right now. American League, let's see, National League East, World Series. The best odds for a World Series result is Dodgers to beat the Astros at plus 900. So you know where Vegas's mind is right now, who they think is going to be in the World Series. When we come back, one streak came to an end on Tuesday night, but it's not the only lengthy streak coming to an end. I'll explain what I'm talking about as we continue. On the Cash In, I'm Jason Page. This is Sports Map Radio. Thank you. Very cool. Would you just email me the drop link or the Dropbox link? Oh, okay, yeah, because I have Google Drive. I could have just had you put it in a... Yeah, that's fine. Okay. You ever talk to Nick Anthony anymore, Vlad? Vlad. Yeah, I lost him. Do you know, Brian, are there any promos that run for this show yet? Yeah. They do. Well, no, I don't. Actually, yes, they do have a bed.
Miami wins.
Yeah.
All right, Inter Miami won. You heard me?
What'd you say, Vlad?
Inter Miami wins. Hey man, don't forget, send me that Iowa thing we talked about yesterday.
Oh, yes.
For Inter Miami.
What's their record? Are they any good? Vlad?
Yeah.
$7.90 the ticket.
They're all right. They're in a playoff spot.
Oh, okay. Is MLS like hockey? Everybody makes the playoffs? Stand by, coming back. "27 minutes past the hour. I'm Jason Page. Week 2 of the Cash In. If you're not following me on Twitter, do it now at the back page. Again, hit me up there on Twitter at the back page. Follow me, get into my mentions, shoot me a note, and you're eligible to win. We're giving out stuff on Wednesdays. We'll be giving out something tomorrow. I can tell you what it is, but you're going to have to tune in and listen tomorrow if you want to win. Follow me on Twitter at the back page if you want to win. Simple as that. And I'd like to think I'm a decent decent follow on Twitter. Most people think so. I said I'd go through the standings, by the way, and I'll get to the two streaks that ended on Tuesday night. Yankees with the win tonight have won 7 of 10, 3 in a row. They are 6 games clear of Toronto, 6.5 clear of Tampa Bay. Both Toronto and Tampa Bay have 62 losses, Yankees at 86 and 56. So that's where things stand in the AL East. I mean, it's pretty much, I think it's pretty much a wrap for the Yankees at this point, only because Tampa Bay's got a brutal schedule this month, and the Yankees don't. And they're playing Pittsburgh, they're playing Milwaukee that's fading down the stretch. They finish with Texas. A lot of winnable games for the Yankees. Matter of fact, I mean, it's not a stretch to think the Yankees could still win 100 games this year, despite the fact that they died, figuratively speaking, in July and August. The AL Central is still up for grabs. Cleveland with a 3-game lead on the White Sox, 4 on the loss side, 5 games clear of Minnesota on the loss side. It's amazing that the White Sox are even still in this race in the AL Central, because they've been so bad this year, but they've won 7 of 10. I mean, they've got a run differential of -9. It's one of those years where they're one of those teams that's still kind of hanging in there. I mean, their starting pitching's been bad. Lucas Giolito's had a terrible year. But the AL Central is still up for grabs. AL West, it's Houston right now. They're going to win that division. They have a 12-game lead on Seattle, but Seattle's going to be in the playoffs. Just a question of where they line up in the wild card seedings. They're 79 and 61. But Houston, right now, best record in the American League. The AL wild card looks like this. Seattle is the top. Toronto and Tampa Bay right there as the second and third wild card. And then Baltimore, 5 games back. The fact that they're even in the conversation at this point in the season is nothing short of amazing what they have done with that team. And it's only going to get better. They've got so many prospects that they've brought up this year, and they've got plenty more where they came from. Baltimore's going to be good. Problem is, they're in the AL East where everybody's good. So they're up against it. They're in the wrong division. I mean, that's the reality. But Baltimore's the only team with even an outside shot of crashing the wild card party, which right now is Seattle, Toronto, and Tampa Bay. National League East, it's the Mets and Atlanta with the same number of losses at 54. 89 and 54 for the Mets, 87 and 54 for Atlanta. So technically the Mets have a 1-game lead, but they've lost 6 of 10. The problem is both teams have lost the last few days. Mets have dropped 2 in a row. Atlanta's dropped 3 in a row. So that's where you are in the NL East. The Central is all but a foregone conclusion with St. Louis up by 7 games on Milwaukee. Boy, did Milwaukee really hit the skids. Dodgers have clinched a playoff berth. They are the first team to do so. And they are way clear of San Diego. Dodgers are 97-43. I mean, a historically good season they're having right now. National League wild card, Atlanta, the top seed. Them and the Mets obviously fighting atop the NL East, so that could change. Philadelphia is the second wild card. San Diego is the third wild card. And then it gets interesting with Milwaukee just 2 back of San Diego. So even with all their struggles, Milwaukee is still right there. Just 2 games back on the loss side of San Diego. So Atlanta, Philly, and San Diego, your 3 wild card teams right now. Everybody else is pretty much done for the year. So that's where we are in terms of the AL and NL. Now, 2 streaks coming to an end on Tuesday. One was Mike Trout, who had homered in 7 straight games, was trying to tie the record of 8 straight games with home runs. Did not do it. He is still second, by the way, in the AL. I think him and Ohtani might be tied, but second in the AL in home runs behind Aaron Judge, 34 or 35. So that streak came to an end on Tuesday. But it isn't the only streak that came to an end. And if you are a fan of this team, you're going to be very happy to hear that this particular streak came to an end. The Detroit Lions. Yes, those Detroit Lions. If the betting odds hold where they are right now, if nothing changes, the Detroit Lions will be a favorite after 24 consecutive games as an underdog. The Lions will be a favorite on Sunday at home against the Washington Commanders. Longest active streak in the NFL, 24 straight games as an underdog. And right now, according to Caesars Sportsbook, the Lions are a 2.5-point favorite against the Commanders. Matter of fact, it's not just the longest streak in the NFL right now. It's the Lions' longest streak in the Super Bowl era. Can you remember the last time? Here's a flashback for you. Ready for this? The last time Detroit was favored was November 22nd, 2020. And at that point, they were a 1-point favorite on the road against Carolina. And you know who the quarterback, if anybody can name the quarterback for Carolina that day, it was P.J. Walker. And the Lions lost to P.J. Walker 20-0. Can you name the NFL team that has the second longest active streak as an underdog? Can you do it? I never would have guessed this was the case. If you'd given me 5 guesses, I would not have guessed who the second longest active streak as an underdog was. It's the New York Giants. And I'm stunned when I hear that. The Giants have the second longest active streak as an underdog, 15 straight games. And they are 2.5-point favorites for their game on Sunday against the Panthers. What a difference a week makes, huh? Detroit had a tough loss against Philadelphia, 38-35 on Sunday, but I'll tell you what, a lot of signs pointing in the right direction for that organization. And the Lions have won 5 of their last 6 against Washington, so if there's reason to hope for anything, I guess that's it if you're a Lions fan. By the way, it is the most thankless job in all of sports, right? We all agree? Is there any worse job in sports than being a kicker? everybody loves you when you make a big kick, and you just get cut when you miss a couple of kicks. Colts waived Rodrigo Blankenship on Tuesday after he missed what would have been a game winner in the season opener. Still no idea who's going to kick for the Colts this week. Call Adam Vinatieri. I'm sure he could still get it done. We're back with more of the cash in. Talk about the Live Golf season-ending championship and football teams making news next.
I'm best.
My funny turn. What'd you say? Did you say something? Oh, okay. I thought I heard you say something. The hell? Was there an earthquake in California? Wow, 4.4. Wow. Yeesh, look out. Could be foreshocks to something bigger. The Bay Area. $20 minutes till the top of the hour. The cash in on a Tuesday. Tomorrow it's hump day. Always looking forward to that. I was just looking, and there were reports, not reports, there was a magnitude 4.4 earthquake in the Bay Area tonight. And that doesn't seem like a lot, but there was a cluster of quakes up there, all in that 3 to 4 range, and sometimes those could be foreshocks. So stay alert if you're in the Bay Area. Of course, I literally live like miles, like a few miles off the San Andreas Fault. So if the fault ever ruptures, it's just curtains. In that case, Brian, make sure you have backup programming available. and wonder if I've been swallowed up whole by the earth. It's real, man. We live right on the fault line. Like if it ever goes down here, it's curtains. I'll be joining you by a cell phone, assuming all the towers haven't fallen. I've lived in two of the most earthquake-prone areas. I lived in the Bay Area for a number of years, and now I live in Palm Springs, where, man, if the big one hits, it is all over for us, man. So anyway, a couple things I want to get to before we go. One, Live Golf's $50 million giveaway, extravaganza, that's taking place. And again, I'll be curious to see if anybody watches. It's a downtime for the PGA Tour season. Everybody's kind of home, getting ready for next year. And Live Golf is putting on this $50 million event October 27th through the 30th. $50 million. Richest purse in golf history. 12 four-man teams will compete for a $16 million first place prize. They're going to seed the teams 1 through 12. Look, I've got issues with Live Golf. I've talked about it in the podcast I was doing before I came back on and started doing this show. I've talked to people in the golf world about it. It's a joke. I know the money is no joke. I know that life-changing money that guys jumped ship from the PGA Tour from is no joke, but the format, the fact that everybody's getting these big guaranteed paychecks, and yes, I know the PGA Tour is doing something similar now, where I think they're going to be doing, $5,000 on the PGA Tour if you miss the cut. Basically, it covers your travel expenses. Whereas Live Golf, I think, is doing $125,000, and they don't have any cut. That's the worst you can make. Where I'm still interested to see with this Live Golf thing is where the TV deal is going to come from. Because I think that's the next frontier for them if they're really to be taken seriously. Is can they get a TV deal? Is anybody going to jump out on that limb and put a TV deal in place for Live Golf? I just don't know. Be fascinating to watch in the coming months. You had several obviously highly recognizable faces and players that left. David Faraday even jumped. That one still doesn't make sense to me. He seems like a smart, level-headed guy, and I'm sure they threw ridiculous amounts of money at him, but he has money. David Faraday doesn't need money. He had his deal with the Golf Channel. He goes out and does speaking engagements around the country. He did one here in Palm Springs. So for me, I can't understand why somebody like David Faraday would jump to Live Golf. Most of the announcers they had there up until now are kind of no-names. David Faraday gave them legitimacy. And he's going to be judged for that by the rest of the golf world.
Can't count on another man's pockets, Jason.
No. I listen, but I'm certainly welcome to judge. And a lot of people are. And you know what? These 9/11 families that have been out there on the forefront of this, basically hammering away at these guys who just went and took a payday. Again, the only guy who's been honest throughout this whole thing is Harold Varner III. He's the only one that stood up and said what nobody else had the courage or testicular fortitude to say, and that is, it's about the money. None of them had the you-know-whats to stand up and say, yeah, we're here for the money, and we don't care about anything else. And none of them had the guts to do it. And Harold Varner said it. It's life-changing money. I could set up my kids, my grandkids, my entire family forever. And whether you respect him or not for leaving the PGA Tour and everything that comes with this league that's run by, basically the Saudi government, which has done atrocious things, whether you respect him for doing it or not, at least he stood up and said the thing that everybody's thinking quietly but won't say out loud. And that is, we bolted for the money. Now, in the case of Phil Mickelson, and this is going to be a fascinating case study a million years from now when we do the professional obit on Phil Mickelson. And I don't mean the literal one when he dies, but the professional one when it's all said and done. There's a lot of people that are going to say, you know what? Phil Mickelson took the bullet for everybody on the PGA Tour getting the upgrades to the tour that they're getting right now. Because Phil Mickelson called for these kinds of changes that the PGA Tour has made more than a year ago and even a couple of years before that. And the PGA Tour relented. And Phil just finally got fed up, was offered a ton of money by the Saudis, and said, all right, I'm bolting for that. And to hell with whatever you all think of me. But that caused the trickle-down effect of other guys leaving and forcing the PGA Tour's hand into making changes that they had been reluctant to make. But now the guys that have left in a huff and joined Live Golf in sort of unceremonious ways, they don't have a home on the PGA Tour. If Live Golf goes belly up, if the Saudis decide to walk away from this, which is very possible at some point, what's the recourse for these guys? They got nowhere to play. Club championships ain't going to cut it for these guys. We're used to making all this money. You want to argue, hey, they'll make enough money on Live Golf over the next 2 or 3 years that if it folds, they will have made enough money and they won't have to play anymore? Maybe. Got to save your chicken. like our old buddy Marshawn Lynch used to say. Watch your chicken. Some teams have to make news with everything but what they do on the field, on the court. We see this in sports every year. There are teams that make no off-the-field news, and then they just win every year. To varying degrees, but they win every year. They let their on-the-field stuff talk. And then whether it's, Zach Wilson with the Jets, Stuppen with, his mom's best friend, whether it's, the Lions and Hard Knocks and creating this image of what the Detroit Lions are and getting people excited based on some, Hollywood script that you turn the Lions into. Or if you're the Cleveland Browns and you make news for all the wrong reasons, whether it's Deshaun Watson, and boy, we got the biggest offseason move with getting Deshaun Watson, and we all know what's come with that. I won't sully the show with reliving those details. Or you're the Browns and you're making news because you've got the biggest, baddest logo at the middle of the field. Have you seen the logo? The elf, Brownie the elf, that they're going to have on the field for their first game of the season? Can't make this up. Have you seen this thing?
Yes. My team has to play in that nasty field with that nasty emblem on there.
Brownie the elf. That's the story of the day in Cleveland sports. No. Not the fact they won the Baker Bowl. No. It's Brownie the elf that will adorn midfield at Cleveland Browns games at First Energy Stadium this season. Hey, we may not make the playoffs. We may go and sign serial, whatever you want to call Deshaun Watson. But we got Brownie the elf at midfield. We're going to, and by the way, is that supposed to be intimidating? I mean, have you seen this thing? I mean, it looks like it looks like an angry version of the Keebler elf. There is nothing about this that if I'm an opposing team, I come into First Energy Stadium and go, whoa, man, we're in for it today. I mean, the goofballs behind the end zones wearing dog masks would scare me more than this thing. Get a few drinks in them. Yeah. Brownie the Elf. That's your story of the day in Cleveland sports. Nope. Not Jacoby Brissett. Not the Browns being 1-0. Brownie the Elf. 800-224-2004 if you got anything you want to weigh in with. Also on Twitter, at the back page. You can hit me there on Twitter, at the back page if you feel so inclined. I'm trying to think. I can't decide if I like Brownie the Elf or not. The stiff arm holding the football. I can't decide if I like it or not. I wonder if there's any t-shirts available with that on it. Vlad, the official line has come out on my golf round for tomorrow. It is 89.5.
Well, you said it.
89.5 is the official line for tomorrow.
I'm going over.
Vlad says I will go over 89.5. Producer, engineer extraordinaire. Brian McDonald, producer, engineer extraordinaire. All right. See? Brian knows where his bread is buttered. See, I'll file a good report tomorrow with the boss. Brian took the under. Vlad took the over. We don't have anybody to break the tie, so we'll just have to see how we do tomorrow. 7 a.m. tea time is going to come fast, though.
Clearly, Brian doesn't know you as well as I do.
This is true. He does not. But looking forward to getting out tomorrow. Playing with my usual foursome. All right, so we will come back. We'll get you set up for tomorrow's show. Tomorrow we'll do, obviously, a preview of the big Thursday night football game, Chiefs and Chargers. Can't wait. That is going to be a special. What a way to kick off Prime, this exclusive Amazon Prime Thursday night football deal. Oh, can't wait. So tomorrow we'll obviously get into that game. Aaron Judge, the pursuit for 60/61 continues. And I said it earlier in the show. I'll say it again. The question now isn't whether he hits 61. I think most people believe he'll hit 61. The question is, can Aaron Judge hit 61 before 154 games? Because that is always believed to be the original home run record, was Babe Ruth with 60 in 154 games. Maris hit 61 in a 162-game schedule. Can Judge hit 61 in 154 games? The baseball purists are certainly watching. We'll wrap up this edition of The Cash In next on Sports Map Radio.
All right, good show. Hello? Paige? Does this guy hear me or not?
Getting set to put the wraps on this one for a Tuesday. Thanks to Cap Cards for messaging on Twitter. So in front of me, Vladimir Louisant, in front of me, I have in my hot little hands the odds. The odds for two things that you will find interesting. These are the odds on the FanDuel sportsbook. Aaron Judge, regular season home runs, over 60. The number is 61.5. What do you think the number is for Judge right now? What do you think the betting number is? Sorry. 61.5.
Over 61.
Over 61.5. What do you think the number is?
Plus 250.
Over 61.5 right now is minus 450. Under 61.
Wow, I really see that
yes. Under 61.5. What do you think the number is now that you know?
Well, it's got to be plus.
It is plus.
Plus 1,000.
Plus 330 for him to go under 61.5. Albert Pujols.
Yeah, put up
699.5.
over 700.
Well, 699.5 is the number. What do you think the over is?
Oh, over. And how many has he have right now?
Hurry up.
What's the amount?
699.5. I think he's 696 or 697.
Plus 250.
Minus 162. And the... Oh, I ran through the stop sign. Damn it.
That's on
Yeah,
me.
that's on me. No, it's on me because I didn't have I turned my volume down. That's totally my fault. Yeah. Like I had never, ever done this in my life. Thank you. See you tomorrow.
What do you say?
That's my fault. Great way to end the show.
It was a good show, too.
Yeah, until then. That's going to do it. See you on the stream. We're going to bed. Put the baby to bed.